Welcome to Buful Life with Vivek Raj Shiva Ray. The words of wisdom from an enlightened master. This is your place to experience life to its fullest. Get ready as we dive in.
Question asked by Samuel. Due to a certain setback, I feel low and failed in my life. I do not feel any motivation any longer to set goals or achieve anything. I am sick of failures and I simply do not see the purpose, and it feels depressing. How can I come out of this?
A certain setback in life, meaning failure in one of your endeavor. So, first, let's talk about failure, because what you think as lack of motivation in your life is not actually a motivational issue, but something more deeper. As human, you have goals. You have expectations. You have wants. And you want success. So failure? What is failure? In simple words, failure is when you fail to achieve your set goals. When you fail to get what you expected. When you fail to get what you wanted. Lack of success is failure. Don't think that only the big goals, big dreams, big expectations can bring failure. Or when you set a goal and are not able to achieve it, it's failure. Failure can happen with little things you do every day. But those little things that you do every day, you don't call them failure. For example, not able to complete a certain task during a day is failure. Or let's say you complete a task and you still don't feel satisfied. You don't feel content. That's also failure. And many little things that you don't consider failure, but you do fail, are like you planned to do laundry and your washing machine broke. You failed in that task. Do you call it failure? Not really. But you had a plan, you had a goal to do the laundry, and now, due to a certain situation, you can't accomplish it. Or like you put it, due to a certain setback, you failed. There are many more examples of daily failures that you don't call failure or take them so seriously, but are still failures. They are like waking up late in the morning, especially when you decided the night before to wake up at a certain time. Missing a bus at the bus stop. Not eating food on time. Not sleeping on time. And many other emotional situations you go throughout the day, such as not being able to impress people around you. Not able to convince people around you. Maybe people don't get your point. They don't understand you. Or not feeling well health-wise. or not feeling enough love. They are all failures in one or another way. Now, why don't you call these little setbacks that keeps on happening every day as failures? Why? The answer is that we, as human beings, who have survived for centuries on this planet, have attained a certain level of ignorance towards non-valuable acts, non-valuable information. And remember, value is what you think is valuable, where you put your life's emphasis on. For example, some of you who are into fitness will put a lot of value in the quality of the food you eat. Not eating quality food is failure for you. But for others, food is just food, no matter what is being served. And for them, it's not a failure to not being able to eat quality food. Some will put value in quantity of food than quality of it. So, for a person in fitness, quality food is valuable, and missing that is failure. Whereas, for others, quality of food is non-essential information. All they want is to eat food. Now, the same thing happens with all the things we do during our day. For example, the amount of pressure your feet put on the floor while walking is not valuable information, and your brain tends to ignore that info, while you keep on walking without realizing that there is a certain amount of pressure being felt every time when you walk. Another great example is that you never feel the amount of blood pressure that is running inside you. Have you ever thought about that? That doesn't even come into our minds unless there is a problem with our body. There is a problem with our health, and we have to go and check our blood pressure. So, as a human, our brain is trained to keep on ignoring non-valuable information. And so is the case for the tasks that you do during a day. You don't say, I failed doing the laundry, or I failed listening to music, or I failed putting the right pressure on the floor while I was walking. Saying that will make you feel insane. But you do say, I failed in an exam. I failed in my business. I failed in my love life. I failed in maintaining good health. Your failure, whether from big goals or little things you do every day, can trigger depression in so many different ways that you, most of the time, don't even realize that you are going through them. You may feel lack of motivation, loss of interest, or pleasure in activities, weight loss or weight gain, trouble getting to sleep or feeling sleepy during the day, feeling restless and agitated, or else very sluggish and slow down, physically and mentally, being tired and without energy, feeling worthless or guilty, trouble concentrating or making decisions, and even thoughts of suicide. Because, like you said, you don't see any purpose. Failure causes a void inside you, a gap inside you that needs to be filled because what you expected from your endeavor was not received as expected. This void inside you is like death. And what happens in failure is death of a dream, death of a goal, death of expectations, and death of success. You may not be using the word death, but in every instance of life, you are experiencing death. For example, failure in business is like death of a financial dream. Your lover left you is like death of a relationship. You're diagnosed with a disease is like death of your health. But no one uses the word death. We say failed in business, failed in love, failed in fitness. But I want to remove those flowery words and masks that you wear. And I want to tell you that what happens in failure is very basic form of how we exist on this planet and die. Meaning, with every breath you inhale, it's life. And with every breath you exhale, it's death. Because to the very grassroots level, to the very core of your existence, every time you exhale, there is no guarantee that you will be able to inhale your next breath. Your existence hangs in between your breath. Breathe in, and it's life. And breathe out, it's death. Breathe in, it's success and life. Breathe out, it's failure and death. This is the deepest you can ever go, finding an answer to the secret of success and failure. So, failure creates a void in you, and this void is a form of death. Or you can say, void is death. And with death, there cannot be any motivation. You cannot ask a dead person to be motivated. Death is exactly opposite of life. Death is 100% opposite of life. Where life can have the will to achieve goals and expect and have a purpose, death does not have any goals or purpose or will or anything to expect from anyone. You constantly keep on experiencing failure every day in bits and pieces that keeps on breaking you inside, breaking the wall you build within to protect yourself from failure of any kind. But these walls keep on falling, breaking, and dying. So I don't blame you at all. If you don't feel motivated, I don't blame you. Because I see that something has died inside you. And death certainly will not have any purpose. What purpose a dead person can have? What has died within you is your will to succeed. The will to give yourself another chance. Because either you're feeling guilty or blaming someone else for all what has happened to you. But in both cases, whether you blame yourself or blame someone else or a situation, you are the one who is breaking inside. You are the one who is dying inside. And if I ask, where is this death happening within you? You will be surprised to know that it is all happening just in your mind. Where did you felt the failure? You felt it in your mind. Where did the will to achieve anything died? It died in your mind. Where did you lose all the motivation? It was lost in your mind. And if I ask, what is breaking within you? You will not believe me. Because the thing that is breaking within you is your ego. Your ego breaks every time you fail. The time the protective wall that you have built inside you, the wall of your ego breaks, your ego begins to die. And know that ego does not like failure. How can death like life and life like death? They don't. It's like the darkness does not like the light, and the light does not like the darkness. Actually, it's not even liking. They have never seen each other. Life has never seen death, and death has never seen life. They're like two sides of the same coin, but none of the side has ever seen the other side. So what is this ego I'm talking about? Because like I said, you're not gonna believe me that what has been breaking inside you is nothing but your ego. An ego does not like someone blaming the ego. Well, ego is the image you carry in your mind about yourself that you have made out of your experiences, expectations, and what the society has told you and what people think of you. You have to be a certain way, you have to be successful, you are the one who cannot fail. This does not end here. The way you dress, the way you carry yourself, your choices, things you like, dislike, love, hate, gets you happy, makes you sad, angry, and all the self-respect you have for yourself out of this image in your mind are all part of your ego. Heaps and heaps of burden on you. And when you fail, this image begins to break for the first time, and you experience like death. And since the ego is dying, it will hurt real bad. When this image breaks, you feel guilty. You can blame others. You can blame situations. You lose your will and motivation. You see no purpose. Because if I say, I, which is your ego image, cannot live in that space, what is the purpose? That's how you start to think. But don't forget that it's just an image in your mind. And all your ego is just made up. I am happy because for the first time, you are encountering the true you. You are able to see what is behind the ego image you created of yourself. Like dust on a mirror, until you clean it one day and you're able to see the true you. I want you to know that what has always failed is the image you have of yourself and not you. You can never fail, nor win. You should understand that if a painter paints a nice painting of you on a glass wall and someone smashes it with a baseball bat, the glass wall will break. Your painting will break. But will it break you? Will you have the cracks that appeared on that wall? Will you break and fall as the painting did? No. You will be as is while the wall will crack and fall. The ego wall that you have built as a protective layer in your mind to protect yourself against any failure and to stay relevant to the society's expectations is no different than that glass wall with a painting. Breaking of that painting is very similar, like you failing. Don't think that you are the painting. You are the creator of that painting. You are the creator of that image that you have of yourself in your mind. Now, anybody who is smart will be willing to create another painting, another image of their choice. If you are smart, you will be willing to create another one of your choice. It's like the life is offering you a blank white board, and you can now draw your image as you like. But always remember, all the images come from ego, and they are prone to keep breaking. They all break. Even when you become successful, it only gives us the indication that your ego has become more stronger. That wall that you've built inside your mind is more stronger. So let me put this together for you in simple words. Failure breaks your ego image. Breaking of your egocentric image feels like death. It hurts really bad. You can blame yourself, others, or situations, and you lose your will and purpose. There are two kinds of people. One, who fail, who hit the rock bottom, whereas the one who do not hit the rock bottom, and we call them the survivors. People who failed but were able to come back and were able to become successful. These people who are able to come back and are able to become successful takes the dying image of their ego and turn it around with more want, with more desires that are so powerful and are so strong that their ego image comes back to life. Some of you who do not hit the rock bottom during your failure will actually come out really easily by building or making a new image of yourself. Again, that image comes from your ego. So creating a new image which is your egocentric image in your mind, to come back from failure does not seem to be the correct answer. Now, many personal development experts and consultants call it turning around the negative in you to something positive. But spiritually, if you look a little bit deeper into it, it is nothing but making your ego more stronger. So as per the personal development experts, consultants, and life coaches, if a failed person is turning their negative into positive, then the question arises, would you call ego positive or negative? Because here, what they are recommending is to boost your ego. So I leave that up to you to decide if ego is positive or negative. But I want to tell you something funny. Ego is very important in life, especially if you want to struggle in your life and become successful as per the norms that the society has put there out for you. You may value things differently, but you will always find that everything you do is either going to be a yes or no, win or lose, success or failure, right or wrong. It is very hard to find a person who says, okay. So if you have hit the rock bottom, I can see some light, because now you cannot go further down. The only way out there is going upwards. And when you do that, make sure that you do not get into the vicious circle of creating an egocentric image that comes from your expectations or the expectations of the society for you to be a certain way, or your wants that are being triggered by your greed. This is the time that you give birth to a new you. The new you that say okay to any situation, any problem, any success and any failure. Practice saying okay to all your situations in life. And that way, your ego will fall without hurting you this time. So, you lost a job, you lost a deal, you lost your love, you lost your health. Say okay. Because as soon as you acknowledge that it is what it is, and as soon as you accept your situation, you make peace with yourself and you get optimistic about what's next. Let that ego die. Let those walls fall. Leave them. Ignore them. They are not important. You are physically alive. Your brain is still working and you are still able to think. I say that you have lost nothing. You are as good as you were before. But now the new you, which will be born from within you, will not get affected by any success or failure. This is the only way how you can get out of any situation where you think you failed. For listening to me with such great love, I am full of gratitude. Thank you.
Visit us at voofalife.com. That is VOOFA life.com and become part of the VOOFA family today.